This is the You Know My Name, Not My Story podcast by the Brave Project. We're on episode number 7. My name's Ash, and I'm here with.
Carlos Biles.
Zephaniah. Ryo.
Let's get right into it.
Wow.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us today for the Brave Project podcast. You know my name, not my story. My name is Donnell Grant and I'm the founder of the Brave Project. Today, in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing and exploring health and well-being, what it is like to be a man and different things that affect young black men in the community. We're going to be discussing their experiences of seeking support. And today I'm joined by my co-host.
Hi guys, my name is Leo. I hope everyone's doing well. And I say let's get right into it. I got the first question for everyone, if you guys are ready.
Let go.
Ready.
Yeah, so the first question is, it's quite juicy, but do you think society cares about men's mental health?
This one.
Go on.
I think society cares about men's mental health, but not as much as anyone would want them to care about men's mental health. Like, there are still little outshoots and little groups of people that do advocate and care for men's mental health, but not enough to say that the entirety of society does, or that a large part of society does.
I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think for me personally, it's more like it's frowned upon in the public eye, in the society, like in the bigger picture. However, for me personally, I know like if I was feeling that type of way, I have got the mandem. I can simply say, bro, I'm feeling this way. And realistically, they're going to say, all right, cool, let's talk about it. Or give you the time and space to work on that. So I think in like you said, the wider society, no. But internally, I know I've always got the manda's back. And I do prefer, if it's an emotional thing, to talk to the mandem about it rather than talk to a group of like women about it, because how they respond to that would be slightly different.
Yeah.
But I do think internally, so smallerly, is that even a word? Smallerly, it's a word now. Smallerly, the mandem have my back, and I know I'll speak about it
You
then.
mean similarly?
No, I mean in a smaller
enough,
world,
fair
in a
enough.
Like
smaller.
on a small scale.
I'm
Today-
gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Today
take
is a word.
different
Yeah, it's a word.
stance.
So what?
I'm gonna take a different stance. I think society cares. I just don't think it's fashionable to care. So I think a lot of people just hide it because it's not the thing that's popping to do on socials, or it's not the thing that everyone's into. It's just like what's in right now is flexing and what plane you take and what holiday you go to and how much money you got and what car you drive, etc., etc. And I think a lot of people are okay with letting that being put on a back burner because you don't want to be that person that stands out, or you don't want to be the person that's called wet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people actually probably would care, or actually want to care, but don't want to highlight themselves in that way, and don't want to make themselves stand out as, oh, the guy's soft, or you have feelings, or this, that, and the third. Where realistically, like, it's okay to have feelings. We're all human. You literally all feel things all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I think we should get back to a place where it's just like there's no judgment against caring how other people feel. Like these days, everyone's just like, oh no, it's just me, like one man up, da 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 da. I'm just like, bro,
Everyone's
it's
on a
okay to
wolf,
have
yeah,
friends,
yeah.
you know. It's okay to have people that you can go to and talk to about certain things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just me anyways.
So I think that society is, everyone has their own society, has their own group of people. So when you think about everybody else who's not in your group, of course they're not gonna care. But as long as you have people that you know you can go to particular issues with, like everyone has that friend, you wouldn't go to that particular friend with this issue because they're not gonna deal with it accordingly. So as long as you have a set people where you can talk to them about certain issues, you're good. You should be alright. But it's important to have a unit of people.
But it should be, and the reality of that situation is always different, isn't it?
There's always going to
So
be
what if,
times you
like,
feel alone.
What if, like, let's say you've got a friend, let's say your brethren from like reception, yeah, you lot have known each other since you were like 3 years old, and that's not the friend that you can go and talk to about serious problems, but you want him or her to be that friend, right? What do you do in them situations?
I think you touched on something there. Sorry, you said want. I don't think you can ever make someone into what you want them to be. I think you just have to accept that person won't be the person that you want them to be. And no matter how many times you try and change that person, I think so. It's more about accepting.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm not saying you've tried to change them though. I'm just saying that doorway has just never been opened.
You could like
Because they've always been that happy-go-lucky friend and they're never the one to deal with serious problems, so you ain't never tried. So where is that
you know what it
middle
is?
ground of finding a conversation to be like, all right, cool, you've been my closest friend for however long, I want to talk to you about something, or they haven't opened up to you about something because they might feel the same way. People are just out here just not speaking about stuff, and so everyone just assumes and gets on with life.
But I feel like that comes down to knowing someone's profile, and I've been saying this to a lot of people. So there's some people that are just happy constantly, and they just want to go out and have fun, and that's them. I can't come to you with a serious issue because you're not grounded enough.
Mm.
I have some friends who are strictly business and did it. I can go and talk to you about serious things because I understand you're gonna deal with the situation accordingly. Now I love them both, but I'm not gonna expect this happy person to be able to do what he can because they're not the same person.
I get what
I
you're
hear
saying,
that one.
kind of. But even then, the people that are like always happy-go-lucky and going out and doing all those things, they also can be dealing with serious problems themselves, or be going through serious shit. So you can go to them with those problems. Or not everyone can go to them with those problems, but for me personally, I have some people like that I can go to and I can speak to about serious stuff or serious problems that I might have. But I do get what you're saying with the
Yeah.
serious people for serious things, and then happy people, happy-go-lucky people for other things.
I think to add more for the profile thing, I think, like you said, like touching on what you're both saying, but the happy person might not have it in them to be able to deal with what you're saying. Like it might just be a profile. Like they don't know
100%.
how to deal with what you're
Yeah,
saying.
dudes might break down.
So that could just be an emotional burden on them. Whereas, like you're saying, is there are certain people out there who are equipped or who know how to address basically X and Y.
And this moves nicely onto my next question, onto the next question, should I say. Do you think that men and women get the same support when it comes to their mental health? And Zeph, well, can we start with you?
We can.
Support.
No. From my perspective as a man, I don't think we get the same support. But in my personal life, that's never actually been something that I complained about. Because for me, anyways, when you take a step back and you look at society and where we're at, you understand. I'm not like, it hasn't been all men, but men laid a lot of the foundation for where we're at as a society. And so part of my growing up has been, I say that I'm only 21, but part of my growing up and development has been understanding that there's an equal and opposite like reaction for every action. So you got to take accountability for some of the stuff that comes with the things that have come before you. The way men have treated women hasn't always been right. And sadly, now a lot of us have to deal with it. It's just about getting to a place where men and women stop fighting each other and we're now just assisting each other
Yes.
in terms of understanding how a woman feels and how a man feels and how we see different situations and how we communicate properly, etc., etc. So yeah, no, it's not the same. It's not fair. But again, you made the bed, so lie in it. We just move forward from here.
Yeah.
Carlos said, "Yeah, that was
Yeah.
yeah."
I get what you're saying with that, but it's like all you said completely makes sense. I don't feel like you can say you made a bed and lie in it. Personally, for me, I don't think you can say you made a bed so lie in it, because I personally didn't do anything to propagate the system we have or to make it so that men's mental health is shunned upon or looked down upon, or women's mental health is pushed higher. Like I wouldn't say just come to this world, but I've only recently been an adult, been a contributing member of society. So everything that I see or everything that I experience, I haven't really had a hand in pushing forward.
Yep.
So when it comes to yeah, that's it. I lost it.
You're on to something.
I hear what
Okay,
you're
back to
saying.
something.
I'll throw this back at you. I'm gonna touch on racism, trigger warning, but people who, let's say white people, right, who grow up in today's society, also again didn't actively have a hand in the pain we feel as black people, right? However, there's a history there, and it has to be acknowledged and it has to be worked on in order for us to move forward as the human race, right, as people in general. And so there's always work that needs to be done, even if you didn't have a direct hand in the pain caused. There's still action that you have to take in order to make sure that people can heal moving forward, and just generally so that everyone's educated.
Yeah, like of course I'm gonna go forward and make sure that other men are able to speak about their mental
Yeah.
health in a safe space or in a space that they're comfortable with. And just as you said with the white people, trigger warning, it's not like you can blame them specifically for what their ancestors did, if you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You can say, yeah, your ancestors did this, and because of this, this is happening. Completely understandable. But you can't say it's your fault. You that was born 10 years ago. Or you that was born, you know what I mean? You that
Yeah,
was born
yeah.
19 years ago. But yeah,
Cool, yeah, no, I get you. I guess to clarify my point then, what I'm getting at is that men in particular need to operate with stop operating with a negligence that like they don't have to take accountability for the stuff that's come before them. Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
it wasn't you per se. It might not have been any of you in this room, but it was someone, right? And going forward, that woman that you might be in a relationship with, or your mother or your sister, you have to find new ways of handling that, right? It may not have been directly from you, but there's still a learning that has to come forward with that, you know what I mean? So it goes back to that thing of just taking accountability and a level of responsibility in terms of just moving forward, innit? Like, you just got to hold it on the chest a little bit and be like, all right, cool, this is where we might have gone wrong, but how do we move forward?
But I think you touched on it before, where it is 50-50,
Yeah,
where
thanks.
women need to see men's perspective and men need to see women's perspective too. And that's only then is when we can find our middle ground. Right now, it does seem a lot like not all men or all women, but some feel as if they're more superior to the other gender or genders that are out there. And I think we all need to have an understanding that until we are 50-50 and until, like you said, we are all reasonable and we all I forgot what I was saying. Until we're all reasonable, until we all have a mutual understanding to know this is how some men operate and this is how some women operate, that's when we'll find the real middle ground. That's when we can say, yes, I've taken accountability. That's when we can say we've done the research, we've done the learning, and now let's apply what we've done. Do you know what I mean? That's pretty much it on that topic for me.
Cool. Anyone
Right.
else want to comment on that question? Or right? Right.
Can you ask a question again? Kind of
Yeah.
detailed.
So the question was, do you think that men and women get the same support with their mental health?
No. Women get more support. Generally, I feel like they just speak more. As a man, I know a lot of the time I should speak to someone and I don't. So can I really fault anyone else or like be like, you didn't reach out to me because and you saw my face was down, like, you know what I mean? Like, we wear our troubles in our expressions a lot and expect people to interject. And if they don't, we're just like, all right, cool, that's just what being a man is. Like, I just have to hold this on my shoulders anyway. And every day we get up and we do that, we just think there's pressures of life, I just got to deal with it. Whereas a woman might get to a point, I feel like anyway, in my experience, they'll get to a point and they'll speak to someone. We just think it's just another day and carry on.
So just on that, is that a society? So is that a societal thing? Is it because of the way the society is structured, or is that just us as individuals, as men, we just don't step up and do it the same way that women
I
do?
feel like it's us as individuals and the percentage of like women we see talking. So we find it to be their norm. And then we look at men and we know that some men do talk, but because it's such a minority, we don't feel like it's our normal.
I think as well it's more individual, as you said, because it's the type of conversations men and women are having. When I'm asking my brethren, how are you? I'm getting, oh yeah, I'm good, bro, how are you? whereas a lot of women will go into more detail. Oh, how was this? How was that? Whereas, and then from how are you, we're going to, oh, let's play FIFA, bro.
Yeah, it's like
Let's play
skip
this.
work, skip
Let's
all
skip
of
that.
that.
I didn't even say how.
Oh,
it
you
was,
had
but
a
everyone
long day
just
at
said
work.
I'm good
Alright,
still.
cool, bro. Oh, sorry to hear
Yeah,
that. Alright,
word.
cool. What? You ready for play FIFA? Whereas women have a little bit more. I'm not saying minute are dumb in it, but a bit more of an intellectual conversation and say, "Oh, how are you? Why are you feeling like that?" I think as humans, we need to stop saying, "Oh yeah, I'm good," because that's just a default answer, and generally tell
100%.
people how you're feeling.
Just on that one, but do you lot feel like certain men that would open up like that, they're looked down on by other men? Be like, oh, why are you like, you're being soft or whatever, or
Yes.
that type of thing.
Because
definitely.
even me as a person, if I ask you how you are, let's say every day of the week, and 6 days you tell me I'm not good and start going into a story, we're gonna separate, because now every time I speak to you, there's an issue. Feel like I'm becoming someone's counselor, and that's not what a friendship is based on. So you just have to kind of look at your friendships and your relationships and know how often to speak to people and check in with people, but you can't do too much. We only have, like, you have to hold yourself as well as hold other people up.
See, I would have touched on that because I think I touched on it before where I said I have the mandem who I could call up and say, you know what, bro, I'm feeling this way. But it's true. If you ask me how are you, I'm not going to tell you 6 days out of 7, I'm not good, I've got a story today. Because that's just a burden on someone else.
Yeah.
But I do think, because I'll be real, me and the mandem, we have our 4 a.m. car
Yeah,
chats.
well,
We're on
Yeah,
PS4
man.
parties and it's getting deep, it's
Yeah,
getting
man,
real.
It's getting real.
And I know for a fact, if I have something, it's that time and that place.
Yeah.
But like you said, there is a time and a place. I don't want to hear 7 days a week that you're not good. Or if it is that you're not good 7 days a week, how can I help you rather than just tell me the story?
We're problem solvers, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But no, I think, like I said, having a mandem, having a support group around you, knowing at any time and any place you can go to them and say, I'm feeling X, let's get to Y.
also on the, because you just said we're problem solvers, and I'd agree about 99% of the time, but on the subject of emotional intelligence, I disagree, because I feel like men always tend to run from feelings because they're not practical, they're not logical, they don't solve a solution immediately, so you're just like, brush it. When in reality, like you said, Carlos bailed me right now. It was just like, oh, Zed, I'm feeling that type of way, cool, swing around, let's have a talk, let's go for dinner, let's do something. Do you know what I mean? Let's air this out and then look at it subjectively. Is it objectively or subjectively? It's objectively.
Yeah.
Look at it objectively and then just be like, calm. That's the problem, innit? We'll go this way about attacking it. But because feelings hurt and everyone's told to man up and no one actually approaches their feelings as a man, you get to this place where everyone's just confused about how they should feel and how much to feel and when is the right time to feel it, because now
finding a
my brethren
logical-
said that I can't come to him 7 days a week
Yeah.
and I feel like I need to talk to someone, but apparently my brethren's not the person that I can go to.
But it goes
So
back to the
I'm going to
point.
hold this for myself. And you don't see that with women. If a woman, if my sister's friend has a problem 7 days of the week, her and my
She will
sister
sit
are going to be on
FaceTime
FaceTime
7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
then-
And then next week it might be all up from there. But the point is they've still gone through that low period together. I'm not saying you have to do it 7 days a week. Obviously, if you must, for the sake of protecting your own mental stability, protect your boundaries, innit? But I just feel like getting to that place where as men we're more honest with each other about how we feel when we feel it and what's actually going on, that at least opens up the conversation to your mates to be like, you know what, cool, maybe I actually should check in with my brethren a little bit more, and maybe I should just shoot him a text and make sure he's still here. You know what I mean?
But again, I think it goes back to what you were saying before about a type of person who's equipped to handle that and reading your friends and understanding Johnny can take that, but Sam can't.
Yeah.
So knowing, okay, cool, I can come to Johnny 7 days a week, but if I come to Sam, you're going to have that break. But yeah, it's true. It's true.
Shout out Johnny.
Shout out
Johnny.
Johnny.
I don't have a
My
full
dad.
course
But-
to Johnny or Sam, but
Yeah.
Not my
No,
dog.
I feel like, being a man, like, I don't know. I think about what it is to be a man a lot, innit? And from young, I started to think about logical and emotional balance. So that's me being able to tap into, I don't feel good today and I have things to do today. So regardless of how I feel, I need to do these
No
things.
facts.
And I feel like I don't know how to say this, but sometimes like it's dependent on your character. To be fair, you might prioritize your emotions over what you need to do today a bit too much,
Yeah.
and then that slows down your life, and then you start to think too much into your emotions because that's become now your whole day. Do you know what I mean? So, and then I find a lot of times when I'm doing things, I don't really have time to feel because I need to do what I'm doing.
Gotta get on with it.
Yeah. So a lot of the time I tell people just try kick on, and then if it gets too much, pull back. It's fine. You didn't complete it today. It's fine, but do try.
Guys, okay, so just before we wrap up, we've got one more question. And that question is, why do you think young black men are least likely to seek support or help for their mental health? And this I guess is the reason why we're here today, because I don't know if you're aware of the statistics, but young black men are least likely than other groups to seek support for their mental health and are most at high risk of suicide.
High risk.
High risk of suicide, which is one of the reasons, amongst many, that I started up the Brave Project, because of the suicide rates and the black young men are being at high risk of suicide. So why do you think, and that goes to Ashan first, why do you think?
I have an answer. Does he have to answer? Is it okay if I answer the question?
You can all answer. You can
Sorry.
know. You can. You can. You can. You can all. You can
I have
all
an
answer.
answer.
You can all answer. But I want to start off with Sean,
That's all right, go on.
and then you can. Whoever wants to jump in, they can jump in. I'm sure you all have something
I
to
got
say on
after
this.
one.
Yeah.
That's a nice question.
I think, and from what I've seen in my experiences, that young black men don't go and seek support because they don't see other people seeking support. In my life, I can say I don't think I've seen that many young black men or people that look like me go and actively search out support for the way they feel, or go and talk to people about the way they feel, or how their day's been going, or anything like that. Personally, for me, the reason I don't go and seek out support would be to uphold expectations, or to uphold an image of myself, almost like a mask. Yeah.
Fair. It's interesting because what I was going to say is I think a lot of young black people, or black people period, black people in general, there's two things I'm about to say. A lot of black people in upbringing is told, don't bring no problems to this door and make sure you stay strong outside this house. And a lot of black cultures have this thing where if there is an issue or something, it's not spoken about, So I think just being taught from young, you're not taught to
speak.
express how you're feeling. It's not a black thing to express how you're feeling, or to talk at home and say, I'm feeling this way. Of course there are families, I'm not saying all families are like this, but I think especially where you said black men, who a lot of us didn't grow up with a dad or a father figure. So your idea of being a man isn't crying to your mum saying X, Y, and Z. Your idea is protect your mother from any danger or any of the women in your house. So I think you have that idea of, I'm a protector. So what, a protector going to seek help? You must be mad.
And can you guys all relate to that? What he's just said?
100%.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And I feel like as black women, not black women. I feel like black women as well, I know there's questions about men, it's said, oh, you're such a strong, independent woman. But black women can struggle too. So those two things, you're growing up thinking, okay, mummy's like, I have to protect mumsy. She's not struggling because the whole world thinks that she's not struggling. But yeah, it's that mindset of I've got to protect. I'm a man. I can't be saying that,
Yeah. I would say there's two reasons. One, because mental health in general is kind of taboo. It comes with a stigma of, I feel like, I don't know how to say this without sounding crazy, but black people take things to extremes a lot of time. So when we talk about mental health, you're thinking of a mad person. You're not thinking of someone who's going to work 5 days out of the week and looks okay, because people present. Like, who you are outside of your house is a presentation of yourself. So just because you present yourself as okay, doesn't mean your mental health is balanced. And then on top of that, I would say resources. If as a young black male, you don't know what you're gonna eat tomorrow, the last thing you're thinking of is going to a counselor.
Yeah,
You're
bro.
thinking about how to get money to get food, and then having a list of ongoing problems in your life means that you've pushed mental health to the back of
Fuck.
priority list. And as a result, it might get on top of you as an adult, but because it's always been at the back, you don't care to check for the back of the priority list. Now you're 42, never seen a counselor, never seen a therapist. You got serious problems, but all you've known is, let me get on with it.
Man up.
Yeah, man up.
Yeah, bro.
I had to brew this one over a little bit. I would say just because I think people do too much talking and not enough listening. Like, everyone might say something, right? But are you consciously listening to what that person is saying? Or are you just listening to wait to give them a response that you already had preconceived in your head from what they might have come to you with? It's like even in school, when you come to a teacher with a certain problem, they just give you the same textbook answer.
Yeah.
That's Molly's answer. That's Tyrone's answer. That ain't my answer. Zeph came to you with a completely different thing. I ain't even really talking about what I'm talking about. But because you're not really listening, it just sort of slides past you. And I think if people stopped yapping so much and actually listened to other people when they were trying to explain something and consciously listened, like, look for that root problem, and there doesn't need to be an answer. Sometimes that person might just want to splurge, you know what I mean? Just get stuff out. But yeah, too much talking, not enough listening.
I feel like you said, but it's like the question is, why don't we feel like we can seek help? And personally, I feel like one, I don't know where this information is gonna go, and they might perceive a certain thing because a lot of like counselors and therapists, I don't know any black counsellor or therapist, or the way that TV or public produces that is, you're gonna go see an older white person sitting there with the book saying, "Oh, so tell me how you're really feeling." And do you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know how to express myself to someone who, one, doesn't step in the same shoes as me, and two, you're listening, but yeah, like you said, do you still have that perceived commotion of me of, you think I'm a young black boy seeking help, so I must be a criminal. I'm a young black boy seeking help, so I must have a bad upbringing. That's how I feel. It's like, what is your perception of me, especially if it's an older white person, before I've even spoke to them?
To piggyback, it's wheeling back to that accountability thing, right? It's also just looking inside yourself, like internally, and actually realizing you need help. Like you said, hella people just ignore their problems.
Yeah.
And you'll go however many years talking, oh yeah, but I'm calm. Like, yeah, I'm alright. That's cool. Yeah, I'm going through so and so, but I'm good. I'm chilling. But it's like, no, I am actually on the verge of a breakdown. So I need to sit down and talk to someone, right? Whoever that be. Or you need to sit down and write something. Or you need to do whatever, right? To channel it out. But that all starts with being honest with yourself. Even if it's sitting down and crying in your bathroom for an hour. That how many man them can actually sit there and say, yeah, you have shed a good few tears this week because life was just getting on top of me. Like, you just need to be honest with yourself, accept that you're in a place where you need help. And then, yeah, use the people closest to you who you might trust the most. And if you don't have them, find a helpline or two out there. Someone that could, and it could be an anonymous person. There's people who don't need to identify themselves in order to listen to your problems or whatever. But yeah, just find a way to have that sort of like catharsis.
I'll speak from experience. When I was in year 11, so 15, 16, I got put into counselling and therapy and things like that. I don't really know which one it was, but it was like facilitated outside of school. And then like 4 weeks in, the whole system got shut down. So I was left with no counselor or nothing. And I felt like I really connected with that person who was a black man. And I was happy when I saw it was a black man as well. But then later in life, I seek, I don't know if that's
Sought.
the word, sought counselling again. And I think this was during Corona. And I called and they put me with a Latin woman. And she set me tasks and I just thought, this is not helping. Like, where can I find a black man? I need to speak to a black man because you're not going to understand me as a Latin woman when I tell you about certain things.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to facilitate for specific groups. And I'm not just saying just for black people, with all groups, like you need to be able to go to who you want to go to. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you guys for joining us today. If whether you're here in the studio with us as a guest or you're listening or watching this podcast today, if you have been affected or triggered by anything that has been discussed today, there are a number of sources available. You can go onto the Brave Project's website, the Brave Project's Instagram page, or our social media channels, and there's a wealth of information available to you if you need to seek support for your mental health or well-being. And like all of the other episodes, I just want to finish with this, I guess, a quote. And this quote is by Shocker, who is an amazing mental health advocate. And this is something that I think he quoted at a poetry night, and it is that if you have something that you are ashamed of and you share it in a safe space, that shame dies because the person you're going to share it with has their own story and they can guide you through it. We all have family members here who have been sectioned, brothers, sisters, parents, aunties, uncles, or friends. We all have family members that have been abused, which we may not be aware of, or gone through divorce or separation. Basically, we all have our own story, and if we share our stories, that shame dies, which is the reason for today's podcast, which is You Know My Name, but Not My Story.
Strong.
Thank you.
Thank you.